University, and I am very much thankful you accepted our invitation for this lecture, and you are going to deliver the very good lecture on the youth. So all, as a teacher, our responsibility to growth and development of the youth. So your topic is very relevant, and all the participants, they are assistant professor in their college. So their duty is also to for the sustainable growth and development of the youth. So with this remark, I welcome you and handing over the session for your lecture, sir.
Thank you very much. Namaskar. Dear participants, good afternoon to all. At the outset, let me express my deep sense of gratitude to Professor Manoj Kumar Verma, coordinator of this course, who was kind enough to invite me to handle a session on youth development. Once again, I welcome you all to this session. So, as Professor Verma introduced the topic to you all, we as teachers, we deal with young people. And perhaps we are the only group or category who deal with young people throughout our lives. Right from the day we start working till we get retired, we deal with young people. So this is ours is a unique category with a unique function to perform throughout our lives. Hence, as teachers, it is our bounden responsibility to know about young people, the very the basic characteristic features of young people, aspirations of the youth, and conduct of youth. So, with this in mind, I would start the discussion. Well, am I audible to all of you? Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I hope,
Audible,
I am audible to all of you.
Yes,
Yes. So, before I start the discussion on youth or young people, young persons, I would like to elicit a few responses just for a few minutes from the participants. Now, I request the participants or one of the participants to give me a crisp and short definition of youth or young people. Can anyone please? Can anyone please? A very short and crisp definition of youth.
Actually,
yes.
the participant they are in webinar mode. They cannot interact with you directly.
Okay.
As per the guideline of the HRDC, they are in webinar mode, and in the down you have a one chat box. Through chat box, they are interacting.
Okay. So I will start. I will start the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, friends. Now, most of us, almost all of us, we always treat young persons.
Sorry to interrupt you. In chat box, if you open already, some participants they are interacting. They are defining the definition of the youth. This is the mode we are. So
yes.
someone is saying enterprising, one word of the youth, and someone is saying who is the enthusiastic, vibrant, and energetic. They are the younger generation, generate like this. They are
younger generation, energetic. Yes.
They can communicate.
So, So participants, thank you very much for the definitions which you have provided just now. Vijay Lakshmi, madam said enterprising, one word for youth. Yes, she characterizes young people. I mean, for her, in her view, young people means they are enterprising. Then Priyanka Kalita, she says someone who is enthusiastic, vibrant, and energetic. Then Shabnam Parveen says the younger generation is energetic, energetic. Well, I expected the definitions given by our participants, our friends, are on expected lines. I expected these words to crop up: enterprising, dynamic, vibrant, enthusiastic, energetic, and so on. Well, yes, no doubt. as you have defined, young people are expected, if not enterprising, they are expected to be enterprising, even if they do not possess, a young person does not possess these characteristics, or does not uh, prove to be promising as defined by our participants, she or he is expected to be enterprising, to be dynamic, to be vibrant, to be adventurous, to be enthusiastic and vibrant. Yes, no doubt about that. Well, now my question is, are these features, or are these traits peculiar to young people alone? Even an old person can be dynamic, an old man or a woman can be enterprising. In fact, experience reveals that it is only after 40 people start experiencing or tasting success. So certainly, going by this, can't we conclude, or can't we assume that even old people can be passionate about testing something or being adventurous, or old people can be energetic, old people can be enterprising? Yes, no doubt, they also can be. However, in common parlance, or from a very what do you call from a very judging the concept from a very popular angle, we always treat young persons as dynamic, as the most dynamic segment of the society. So this is about the features or the traits of young people, generally held to be very common to for young people. Well, most of us, or the sociological literature, deals deals with young people, or treats young people as an age category. That means young people means, depending on the culture, depending on the country, or depending on the policy, young people are defined as an age category. That means people falling in this particular age group, say from 15 to 24, 15 to 29, 15 to 35, or 12 to 35, they can be called young, or they can be defined as youth. It differs from country to country, but as per the most recent national youth policy, which is in still which the draft is with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Shortly, it will be pronounced, or it will be proclaimed, the policy. It will go to the cabinet subcommittee, and then it shall become official. So according to this national youth policy, those who are in the age group of 15 to 29 can be treated as youth. Well, dear friends, India has had three national youth policies. The first one was enacted in 1988, when Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister. And that was the time when young people were given the right to vote at the age of 18. So that was the first national youth policy. It's a very short document, some just 8-page document, in which it is uh, mm, it is declared, or the commitment of the government is declared, that the government shall strive, or uh, the government as well as other social and public institutions shall strive to empower youth by way of providing them access to proper education, employment, and training. Of course, this is the usual what do you call policy formulation, which all the governments meticulously follow. So the second national youth policy was formulated, or was introduced, in the year 2003, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India. And this youth policy, or this policy document, was more comprehensive. It was a lengthy document. And the unique feature of this second national youth policy is that young people, the age limits of youth were expanded. Were expanded. The lower age limit was was what you call pulled back to 12, from 15 to 12, and the upper age limit was extended from 29 to 35. So according to the National Youth Policy 2003, the population of young people appeared to be phenomenal because it is 12 to 35, sorry, 13 to 35. 13 to 35 means it should be a huge group. It should be a very huge group, more than the population of Europe. Again, in 2014, the government of India introduced the third national youth policy, according to which young people, the age category of the, or the age group of the young people was in tandem with what the UN had declared, that is 15 to 29. And now the most recent national youth policy, which is in offing, which is in pipeline, it also conforms to the formulation of the UN, that is 15 to 29. So it is generally accepted that people who fall in the age group of 15 to 29 are young people, are youth. Of course, the question is always there. The question that can't they be called beyond 29, can't they be called young people? Yes, definitely, they are young people. But for specific purposes, for some policy issues, the age category is always defined. And that need not be, we don't have to stick to it in all circumstances and in all contexts. It differs. Sometimes we may deviate from the usual definition of young people given by the policy document. Well, so beyond age, let us look beyond age. Is it only age category which defines young people? Is it only the age criterion that defines young people? No. Beyond age, youth have to be seen. Youth have to be discussed and deliberated upon beyond age. So apart from being a very dynamic age category, a very potential age category, youth is also seen as a social construct. Social construct. What is the meaning of social construct? These two words are very interesting. Youth are part of our social processes. Normally, see, I'll give you an example. Let me quote some examples from history. If you hark back to BC, historical, I mean, ages like before Christ, thousands of years ago, or at least centuries ago, you can see all young people making history. For example, Alexander, Julius Caesar. By 30, by the time they were 30, they were in their 30s or late 20s, they conquered kingdoms. They ruled vast swaths of land. They went on massive campaigns. They introduced reforms in their respective countries, like Ashoka, Mauryan kings Ashoka, or his father Bimbisara, or his grandfather Chandragupta Maurya. So that means at that time, the longevity was very short. Short. People were not living beyond 35 or 45 years of age. Hence, what all could be achieved, they had to achieve before they were they crossed their 30s. Hence, that those were the times when young people made history. As the scientific and technological advancements were made, there are innovations in health practices, medicine, treatment, and all. So people started living longer. People started living longer. The longevity has increased. Longevity has now the average age, or the longevity in India is now around 63 years, which was below 40 at the time of independence. That means now young people don't have to be in a hurry to create history. Of course, they are always free to create history. Young people do not have to rush to achieve or to create wonders. So, again, coming back to the definition of social construct, youth are not only an age category, but also a cultural and social categories. They can be also defined as cultural and social categories. Their role in the society is increasingly acknowledged. Their contribution to the society or their greater labor force participation or their contribution to the cultural ethos of a particular society or a country in which they live is being recognized. So, young people are now treated as a category beyond what is considered as an age group. So, that is called social construct. So, young people, let me once again repeat, are also treated as a social construct. Well, now all of us would have been, we were all young. For example, I'm in my 50s. That means I was young long back. Most of you must be young. Most of you must have crossed that that particular period of time. Yes. So all of us, invariably, not only all of us, but everyone in this society, in this country, must have experienced some kind of socialization. So it is this process, perhaps teachers of sociology, as a student of social sciences, uh, I would like to remind our teachers, if at all there is anyone in this group from sociology, he or she could be able to, will be able to throw light on this better. Anyway, since I am the resource person, anyway, I can't give you this opportunity. So this socialization is a process which which inculcates the values of the dominant values of the family or the society in a child. So socialization is a process which can be called in common parlance, it can be called as a training ground for the young people. So a child is influenced by her or his parents, siblings, older siblings, then neighborhood, peer group, then school, that is educational institution, in most of the times religion and other social institutions, and finally politics or participation. So a person's socialization is carried on by these agencies. These are the agencies of socialization. Socialization also, the very process of socialization exercises invisible and unseen control, that is social control over the individual. So our young people whom we see now around us, your students or my students or anywhere else, young people whom we see on roads or in different spaces, all of them are socialized. However, the socialization differs from one family to the other, one social group to the other, one state to the other, one religion to the other. Definitely, it differs because each group has its own values, each group has its own mode, has its own rituals, which the young people are asked to follow. When, for example, instead of my lecture may not sound structured, we see some deviant tendencies. Not only now. See, normally people say nowadays young people are irresponsible. Those days we were very responsible. This is the common refrain of everyone who is past that particular age. See, deviant tendencies have always been there. Good young people were always there. Young people have always been innovators. Young people have always been ideal. And always we used to see criminal elements among all age categories, not only young people. Well, when we see young people of different hues, when we closely observe them, when we see our students, each one of them is unique. Though all of them have some common features, some common behavioral patterns, at the same time, each one is unique in some respects. One is not like the other one. Among the peer group or in the same class or in the same context or in the same group. Why? Why does this happen? Number one is which accomplished psychologists or scientists may deny this, but certainly the innate nature also matters. The innate nature also matters. Innate capabilities, mentality, mental makeup, psychological makeup differs from person to person. That's why we see some people succeeding in some fields, some others succeed in different fields. Some people may may found to be may be found to be lagging behind their peers. So all this also apart from socialization and training, apart from the socio-economic and cultural backdrop or background, it also depends on the innate or inherent capabilities or traits of an individual. I'll give you an example. Perhaps many of you may differ with me. We always say, given proper training, anyone can achieve anything. Sky is the limit. No, certainly not. This is where we misguide the young people. We must identify the talents of the young people. We must identify their capabilities. We must also identify their potential. And we must be able to assess the strengths and weaknesses of young people. And then we can help her or him in deciding uh, his or her career graph or course of action. So without that, we cannot go by statements and empty rhetoric that you can achieve anything, go ahead, my boy, like that. No. A person who is not strong in mathematics, you cannot put him or her in Kota, Rajasthan, which will ultimately be disastrous, isn't it? So we have to see, we have to have a look at the potential of the young people. Some may show promise in cricket, some others may show promise in music, some may show promise in dance, and you may find another young man or a woman very enterprising and quite capable of starting a startup or a micro enterprise. So this is how young people say they differ. From talent viewpoint, from capabilities viewpoint, they differ from each other. Can I sometimes speak in Hindi also? Can I sometimes? Hello,
Sir,
वर्मा साहब, कभी
sir,
कभी हिंदी में भी बात कर सकता हूँ.
sir,
Because
which
I
word
see.
you can use, but you can understand. No, many Northeast participants, especially the
Yeah, okay,
Mizoram,
okay.
they have
Then,
some difficulties,
yeah, then
and
no,
many are
I'll
from
tell you in
Nagaland and
English.
all. So some
English.
word you can use, no problem.
See, I'll give you an example, my dear friends. In a family, twin brothers or sisters, twin sisters are there, twins, same parentage, same school, same facilities, same coaching or same training, everything is same. Both of them have equal access to all the facilities which the family could give them, isn't it? But one sister ends up in IIM Ahmedabad, the other sister may become a good dancer. Whereas the parents wanted both of them to become to enter into IIMs or IITs and become and go places in life. But the other one becomes an accomplished dancer, danseuse or we may call, and another sister gets into IIM Ahmedabad or Lucknow or IIT Bombay or Kanpur. After that, she uh, her career graph sees a quite sharp rise. Whereas the other sister ends up as a good dancer. She gets awards from Sangeet Natak Kala Academy. She gives performances on quite a number of dioceses, or she travels abroad and all. And this example, I have given a very ideal example. One brother may end up becoming an accomplished mathematician. The other brother may end up as nothing. Again, having the same facilities, having the same coaching. So this example should be an eye opener for all of us when we deal with young people. When we deal with young people, some young people are articulate, some are not. Some are uh, some uh, some are found to be quite contemplative right from a young age. Some are very agile, some are dull, and the same dull person may be very good in economics, and some other young people may be good in sports. So each young person has a different set of capabilities and talents. This, as teachers, or as especially because I have been in the area of youth development for the last 2 decades. I've interacted with young people across the country. from Leh, Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh to Kutch Valley to Kutch, run of Kutch. In that area also we conducted some training programs to Kanyakumari. So after interacting with young people across the spectrum, socio-cultural spectrum, we arrived at these conclusions that we have to make, we have to prepare an inventory of skills and capabilities of the young people whom we deal with. Then it becomes easier for policy formulation or guiding the young people. So this is, in fact, I have deviated from the structured lecture. Now coming back to the, what do you call, run-of-the-mill lecture, let me tell you, India, as you all know, is the youngest country as of now. As of now, India is the youngest country. Our demographic window is not going to close till 2030. Now, according to the provisional census, because the census has not been conducted, yet we have details with us, 2020 population details. 50% of the population in India is below 25. Sorry, and 65% is below 35. That means we have young people around. Ours is the youngest nation in the world at the moment. So you imagine people below 35 constitute 65% of the population. That means people beyond 35 constitute only 35% of the population. That means, you see, our country is teeming with young people, millions of young people everywhere. So this is because of advancements in science and technology, medical innovations in health sciences, availability of medical facilities, treatment, and growing awareness among the people about maternal morbidity or birth, what do you call, female infanticide and all these things are being overcome steadily. Hence, the young population of young people has increased manifold. In 2020, the average age of India is 29, while that of China was 37 and Japan 48. So this is another startling fact, my dear friends, something to cheer about. In 2020, the average age of India was 29, China 37, and Japan 48. And by 2030, by the year 2030, just 7 years away from now, India's dependency ratio is 0.4, whereas for other countries it is much more. 0.4 dependency ratio. Dependency ratio means people who are not in the labor force, or people who are not in the workforce, or people who are not involved in any kind of income yielding activity. That is called dependency ratio. So that dependency ratio by 2030 will be 0.4. Quite encouraging for a country like India. Well, the four most important areas that affect youth, or the four most important domains in which the role of young people, or to which the contribution of young people have to be studied to get a comprehensive picture of young people are: number one, health, education, labor force participation, that means workforce participation or employment, and participation. Participation means civic and political participation. Civic and political participation means participating, becoming members of a particular organization, participating in civic activities or social service activities, and exercising the franchise and becoming part of some kind of political process. That all these things come under participation. So health, education, employment, and participation. So these four domains, when a country or a state formulates or designs a policy for the young people, these four domains have to be taken into consideration. Well, you know, education is now diversified like never before. Like never before. When I studied MA, there were all these traditional courses like economics, political science, sociology, chemistry, physics, and all. As years passed by, all sciences, of course, I am from social science stream. I can't name about sciences, but now you have umpteen number of courses, even in social sciences, like management itself is divided into several what you call streams, management courses. Now we have exclusion studies. We have MA program in subaltern and exclusion studies. We have research institutes like Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policies. We have research centers on Gandhi, Vivekananda, what do you call Aurobindo, Rabindranath Tagore, instituted by the UGC. So educational endeavor is diversified like never before. There are and diploma courses and computer engineering or computer science itself. Under this broad rubric of computers, there are hundreds of innovative courses: fashion design, fashion technology, design, graphic design, ceramic design, this design, that, and there are, I mean, education appears to be an ocean now. So young people, obviously, who pursues education? Normally, 100% it is only young people. So the young people's acquisition of knowledge or young people's involvement in the acquisition of knowledge has undergone sea change. What a young person 20 years or 30 years ago used to study has become obsolete, And in addition to this, you have at least a million Indian students enrolled in foreign universities. Foreign universities means advanced Western industrialized nations, or in raw terms, it is white countries where we go, isn't it? America, Canada. See, America, Canada, then the UK, Germany, France, New Zealand, Australia. Very few people go to other countries like France and all. So this, hello. So Indian diaspora means it's a name for the migrant population, or people who have settled abroad. So Indian diaspora is very young, appears to be very young now. If you go to United States of America, any city of United States of America, go to any university, you will find Indian students. So this mass student migration, at least for a period of a few years, to pursue a degree abroad, has radically altered the socio-cultural mosaic of Indian youth. Then, after pursuing studies, many of them are getting good jobs, are pursuing lucrative careers, and settling down abroad. Many of them are getting green cards, and of course, they are all patriots. Their patriotic credentials can never be questioned. They have gone there for better lives, So, all this is because of the diversification of education. All this is because of the innovations in educational technology. More people have access to technology. Technological courses have overtaken social sciences and humanities, even life sciences. So education has enabled Indian young youth or young people in India to empower themselves considerably. That is one area. And health, my dear friends, health is very important, an important domain, not only for young people, but for all of us, for especially for the people beyond a particular age, 45, health becomes very important. And the governments all over, or the establishments, they take care of health. Health facilities are being continuously improved, but this particular area domain is also a cause of concern, because young people are susceptible to all kinds of influences. They are sometimes malleable. They fall prey to uh, some kind of unwelcome or undesirable advices and influences. And young people, as we know, they are also, that particular age is an age of adventure. Young people tend to test certain things. The more the thing is forbidden, a young person or an adolescent will always try to test, will always try to peep into it, or will always try to experience that particular thing which is forbidden or which is kept out of his or her bounds. So this is how way back in 92, 93, way back in 92, 93, when I was with the NSS organization. All of you, I think, know NSS, yes? National Service Scheme. Probably many of you must be program officers also, isn't it? So this, when I was with the NSS organization, from 95 to 2010, but from 92 onwards, the NSS organization started creating awareness about HIV/AIDS. So HIV/AIDS 3 decades ago was just like a monster. And people were so scared, policymakers were so scared that they thought, but that by 2010, the country would witness very, what do you call, greater, much greater misery. Because AIDS, HIV words was right away, it was staring at our faces. Young people were falling prey. So then the Ministry of HRD, at that time it was HRD, and Youth Affairs and Sports was a department in the HRD. So this department uh, embarked on a massive program called University Stock AIDS, UTA, to create awareness among the young people about prevention, because at that time there was no cure. Even probably now also there is no cure. So prevention of HIV/AIDS. So in this, sexuality, then sex education, so many other things were incorporated into this training manuals or modules. So this program went on uninterrupted till 1998. So due to the efforts of the governments, persistent efforts of the governments, international agencies, civil society organizations, the problem of HIV/AIDS, this menace could be overcome. Now it doesn't appear to be as serious as it was 3 decades ago. So health is a very important domain where the health of the young people is an important determinant of a nation's development. If young people are not healthy, if young people are not in sound health, then certainly it is going to have a deleterious effect on the nation's health. And stress is a very important. Stress is now even it is consuming lives, young lives. Stress, career stress, or other kinds of stress, psychological stress. This has to be dealt with properly, and new counseling systems have to be introduced. The old kind of counseling and all, they have to be replaced by new technologies, novel or innovative technologies. So after education and health, it is employment, obviously. Why we study? We study for employment. Why we get trained? We get trained for employment. Employment means involvement in income yielding activity, involvement in a pursuit which gets us income or livelihood. So obviously, our education is meant for enlightenment, no doubt. Education is meant for what you call enlightening us, and enabling us to understand the society, understand the social phenomena. But most importantly, education, we pursue education with a fond hope to get employment, suitable and sound employment. Well, thanks to globalization, 1991, when LPG policies, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, they were introduced on when the structural adjustment program was embarked upon by the government of India. Most of us were skeptics. We were all skeptical. We were all research scholars at that time. Many of the policymakers, many of the intellectuals, politicians, they were quite skeptical, and they were also pessimistic. They thought this was going to, what do you call, the country was in for a doom. But it provided to be it was not a bane, but it proved to be a boom. Since 1991, employment also got diversified. New industries, the manufacturing sector underwent a revolutionary change. And now, starting from home appliances to sports cars, starting from electronic items, electronic gadgets to garments, everything is manufactured on a massive scale, massive scale. And adding to that, online shopping. This is because of the electronic revolution. This is about because of the proliferation of what do you call technologies, new technologies. So online shopping has not only contributed to the economic activity, to the financial health of the country, but also it has empowered young people. It has empowered young people. A young person holding a mobile phone, of course, if it exceeds its brief or limits, that is undesirable. But a young person, a young girl holding a mobile phone and picking up items which she wants from Amazon or Flipkart and getting the item within a few days, couple of days, and even within hours is something, it's an empowering exercise. Unless and until the person, she or he gets addicted to it, it's an empowering exercise. So all this is made possible by the diversification of employment. And now the avenues of employment are many, are too many. 3 decades ago, before 1991, a BCom graduate either had to appear for a bank exam, competitive exam, or go for BED, or end up on the roads. If she or he were rich, that's a different matter altogether. So, but now a BCom graduate immediately after finishing her studies or his studies can get into umpteen number of industries as a salesperson, as a marketing executive. No doubt, with a lesser salary. Something is there. Something is there to feed us. Something is there to on which we can fall back, on which our graduates can fall back. See, government is not in a position to give employment to all the people. It is all over by the end of 1970s. It is over. The government sector got saturated. Thanks to the vision of our Jawaharlal Nehru. And all, we were on a see, but for these huge projects, but for this Nagarjuna Sagar, Hirakud, but for industrialization, but for the scientific establishments, government would not have employed so many people. But now that is not the situation. Certainly no. That cannot be reenacted. It's not possible. It is now private sector. It is now the corporate sector which rules the roost. At the same time, so let us not go into ideologies and all, but one thing is established, it is proven beyond doubt that employment is diversified and the avenues of employment have increased manifold. That means young people, better than 3 decades, what it was, the situation prevalent 3 decades ago, are in a position to earn some livelihood or even a modest income by entering into these avenues. Let it be apparel, let it be a garment industry, manufacturing industry, automobile industry, electronics industry. You name anything, you have an industry, you have that sector expanding with every passing day, thus providing employment opportunities to the young people. Relatively, I am not painting a rosy picture here. Relatively, young people are now in a better position than what their predecessors were 3 decades ago. Now coming to participation, dear friends, research research on young people or sociological research reveals that Indian youth were not as proactive as their counterparts in the Western countries have been or are. Philip Altbach, an eminent education researcher from University of Philadelphia, I think. Philip Altbach, you can go Google it. He was the one who first said this, that Indian youth, when it comes to activism or when it comes to participation in the society or when it comes to engagement with the society or with the immediate neighborhood or community, Indian youth are found lagging. This is what they have established. Well, now participation has changed its contours. The very complexion of participation has changed, isn't it? Earlier, participation means you have to take to streets, you have to sit in a demonstration, Jindabad ya Murdabad kaho, jhanda leke jao, isn't it? This was a typical scenario which one would have imagined 3 decades ago. Participation means anti-establishment. You have to shout slogans. You have to oppose the unjust policies, perceived unjust policies of the government. Now the perspective has changed. Now young people, no doubt, are participating through online. It has become much easier. Now people are reacting to news in a very remarkable and very, what do you call, unexpected manner. Recently, of course, there is an element of melodrama in it. One poor boy said he wanted to study in Harvard because Harvard, anyone can get a seat. By paying money, you can get a seat in Harvard or any university in America. Unlike our IITs or IIMs, which have a strict admission policy, which to get through which is it's very difficult, next to impossible. So that boy said, I don't remember the name of the boy. He said, I wanted to study in Harvard. I'm very poor. Then immediately donations poured in, online donations to his bank account. Lakhs of rupees. Within 1 day or 2 days, sorry, within a couple of days, his bank account was brimming with some 17 lakh rupees. That means young people are very active. Young people are active online. But I sent a message in a group saying that this is uncalled for. Why should he want to study? Have you had a look at that boy's educational credentials? Is he capable enough to go to Harvard and study there, or simply he will go to Harvard and continuously he may fail there also? So, without seeing all these things, just because you have a mobile phone, you have sufficient bank balance, you have good incomes, you just transfer the money to his account. And after that, I don't know whether that young man had gone to Harvard or not. We don't know. So, there is an amount of melodrama in it, but still, young people are very active. And also negative side, if you look at the negative side of this activism, young people, or not only young people, even old people, are very active in hurling abuses, invectives in groups and on social media platforms. It is also there. Yet I would like to say, I would like to remind you friends, my friends, that participation has taken a different turn. The very meaning of participation in civic affairs has changed. And idealism has given way to pragmatism. Earlier, even during my generation, I saw many young people too ideal, too enthusiastic, and they were living in a dreamy universe. They always thought they would change the world and they would change the country. But many of them ended up in jail. Some of them could not make it big in their careers. And some of them, even now, they are very despondent. They are in despair. But now young people are more intelligent, more pragmatic, much cleverer, and less ideal. This is this is due to globalization, or this is due to the integration of India into the world economy. When you have better employment opportunities, when you have glamour around you, when you have social media around you, splashing news, splashing all kinds of items, all kinds of news, or what you know better, everyone. So, in these circumstances, a young person, man or a woman, has enough entertainment on hand. Entertainment uh, is growing by leaps and bounds. With a click of mouse, you have everything in your palm. So, in this situation, under these circumstances, young persons may not go for full-fledged activism. So here, I think some of our participants must be from Assam. I have seen the names, Assamese names. Am I right? Am I right? Some of them. Assam Gana Parishad, 1989. The elections were going on for the 7th Lok Sabha. Sorry. It was for the 8th or 9th Lok Sabha. Prafulla Mahanta came to Visakhapatnam. We were all research scholars at that time, fresh, young, very young, immediately after our post-graduations. And when Prafulla Mahanta was there to campaign for the National Front candidates, we were virtually running after Prafulla Mahanta because Prafulla Mahanta as a student leader invoked respect throughout the country. He was the CM of Assam at that time, last year of his chief ministership. And Assam Gana Parishad fired the imagination of young people during the 80s, during the early 80s. Whenever there was this, the young people used to sit across the country, except a pocket, few pockets in Tamil Nadu and all. People were intoxicated. What is happening in Assam? Students are fighting. Students are going to form a government. Students have formed the government, first time in the history of the world. And 20 years before that, a decade before that, when we were children, 1974, 73, 74, Jayaprakash Narayan's Sampurna Kranti agitation. We were children at that time. At that time, young people, those who were 10 to 12 years older than us, they were always engrossed in discussions regarding Jayaprakash Narayan, Sampurna Kranti, what is going to happen. Definitely, we will pull down Indira Gandhi's government. Our government will come to power. And the products of that Sampurna Kranti are none other than Arun Jaitley, Lalu Yadav, Sushil Kumar Modi, Sharad Yadav, then Venkaiah Naidu, Sushma Swaraj, so on. So these people could make it big in their in politics in later years, and that situation, those circumstances no more prevail. So at that time, people were fired with idealism, and the governments were also state as well as union governments were very adamant. They never gave any space to dissent, and that pent up anger, it just burst in 1977 elections. After that, that opposition to a monolithic this thing entity called Congress, got fragmented. And after that, 1980s was relatively, the decade was relatively less turbulent. And 1990s, it is globalization all the way. It is electronic revolution all the way. It is online activism all the way. So this participation of young people, whether it is civic engagement or social service activities or political participation, has now completely changed its course. It has become less complex. It is more visible. And more number of people are into it because of the availability of mobile phone or internet. Now, there are several studies, umpteen number of studies, plethora of studies on this electronic revolution or electronic gadgets and young people's engagement with young people's participation in social media. Now, sociological literature is replete with studies on this particular aspect. Well, I have touched upon employment, education, health, participation. Now, there is another very important area which is related to media, again, mass media or mass communications and all. It is youth culture. What is youth culture? What do you mean by youth subculture? Youth subculture is a branch of the dominant culture. That means when people had less hair or young people started growing long hair in tandem with hippie culture, promotion of hippie culture during the late 60s and early 70s. Bell bottoms replaced narrow cut pants. Narrow bottoms, bell bottoms replaced narrow bottoms. And females, of course, the styles always change. And this hippie culture is an important element of subculture. It's a very bright, perhaps the brightest example of subculture is hippie culture. Hippie culture was essentially a rebellious movement. People simply wanted to rebel against the established norms. Those were 1960s. 1960s was a decade of churning. 1960s was a decade of churning. 1960, during the 1960s, the Cold War was at its height, Cold War. So there was also ideological clash among countries as well as public as well as people. So young people were divided into two broad ideological camps. Of course, the left was more dominant than the right. Left was more dominant. Even in American universities, leftist students used to dominate. So was the situation was same in India also. So this hippie was not a left, was not an hippie did not have any element of leftist ideology in it, but hippie culture was essentially a rebellion against the established norms. You ask us to trim your hair, I will grow long hair. I will grow long mush. And added to that was Indian spirituality. And Indian spirituality was so attractive for the Westerners. You know, I think most of you must have heard about Beatles, George Harrison and all. They even came to Rishikesh to experience the charms of River Ganges and stay with Mahesh Yogi. But they could not stay here longer because of climate and other factors, and they left. So, great music groups, they were influenced by Indian spirituality. They could not understand the depth of Indian spirituality. They could not delve deep into it, but they had great fascination for Indian spirituality. So this Hare Krishna movement, which we see now in many parts of the world, the genesis of this movement lies in hippie culture. See, hippies said Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, but that was Hare Rama, Hare Krishna was misused. This particular chant was misused. Oh, that's why the movie Hare Rama Hare Krishna in 1971, Devanand's own movie in which Jainataman debuted. It was a revolutionary movie. It showed the hippie culture in all its totality, how young people were being misled, how young people started charting their own course. So he sings a song, Ram ka naam badnaam na karo. So you are misusing the names of Indian gods. That's what he said. Our Indian gods or our Indian epic characters, they stand for character, they stand for discipline from their own viewpoint. So hence, please do not make fun of it, fun of these characters, or do not use these characters' names in a pejorative sense. That's what he sang. Devanand sings that song, a very melodious song, Adi Burman's number. So this hippie culture was a dominant subculture. After hippie, even in a family itself, young people tend to rebel. Some young people, not all young people. I won't do this. If you ask me to do it, I won't do this. If you ask me to join this particular college, I won't join. So this rebellion, which is hallmark of young age, which is hallmark of adolescent and young age, adolescence. After adolescence, you become young person, young man or woman. It is hallmark of this particular phase of life. Rebellion, deviating from the established path and seeking solace in a different kind of what do you call in a different enclosure, whether it is cultural or mental enclosure. You always try to come out of the control of the parents or elders or neighborhood or school education and all. You come out of that. You try to come out of that and create a universe of your own. Could be a very cozy universe, very closed and all, but it is your universe. And this mobile phone has given ample opportunity to the young people to create their own universe. You see very often, not only young people, even old people do that. We go, we sit in a corner in an airport or a railway station, we simply browse. We simply browse. That means it doesn't mean that we are aloof. It doesn't mean that we are cut off from the society. We are connected to the society through this instrument. We are connected to the society through the chatting with someone means you are connected to the society. You are connected to your friends. You are connected to your near and dear kin group. People chat with friends in America. People chat with friends in Sweden. Oh, yesterday you had been to. I was watching. One girl, she was she was chatting, and immediately a phone call came. Acha, wahan ki samay kya hua? Like that she was asking. Thanda to hogi wahan. Later I came to know from her talk, her friend was in Sweden. And this girl was talking to her. First, she started with chatting. Immediately, a phone call came, and that was in the midnight in Delhi airport. So this is just a very minute example. So this electronic revolution has undoubtedly introduced a new element in youth culture. Now you see music, short videos, music, music videos, short videos, memes, all these what do you call what do you- they have the trappings of a distinct and innovative youth culture. Young, all the songs are being played by the short video comes. Someone dance Himmat wala song, Naye No Me Sapna, just for a few minutes, few seconds, it disappears. The video disappears. One young boy and one young girl. Freedom. You have unlimited freedom, unbridled freedom, unbridled freedom. So you can do anything. You can go somewhere. Your friend has a mobile phone. He will shoot it. She or he will shoot it. You will upload it in the social media. So now I don't know where it leads. Where it leads, and after a decade, I think all of us will become vexed with this, and we will. It seems. I hope we will go back to print media. We will go back to newspapers, and we will go back to books. Just we will get vexed with all this what do you call noise or din generated by social media. So youth culture has become more innovative. Now young people are making albums. I was in Chandigarh for 3.5 years. I was heading the regional center of Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development in Chandigarh and Punjab. Every family makes 3 to 4 albums. Every family, everyone is a singer there. So like this, not only in Chandigarh, every place, everywhere, and many cultures that hitherto have been neglected, or that hitherto have not been noticed, or have been subject to intentional neglect, dereliction, are now coming to the fore, are now being focused. Someone shoots a dance, a tribal dance or an ethnic indigenous dance in a remote corner of the country and uploads it in the social media websites, social media sites. So that particular dance form gets popularity. So movies are always there. Of course, movies have always been there. Movie industry is one industry which employs more people. Movie industry is one industry where young people's talents uh, are given a test. Young people are given an opportunity to express themselves, because, for example, you see movies like massive movies, productions like Bahubali and all. It employed hundreds of young people, thousands of young people for graphics and all, thousands of young people. Because I am from Andhra Pradesh, these are all Telugu movies. Movie industry in Telugu movie industry itself employs lakhs of young people, like junior artists, dancers, music assistants, direction assistants and direction department, editing. So movie industry has always been a fair employer, if not the biggest employer, fair employer. And this industry is now giving an opportunity for the young people to express themselves, to express themselves. Today, a hero has to struggle a lot. A hero or a heroine cannot remain there for 3 decades. They can remain, but only with one movie a year, 1 or 2 movies a year. So the competition is very fierce. The competition is very, very tough. So one has to struggle hard to remain at the top, or to remain at least um, uh, in 1 to 10 slots. Likewise, the youth culture is seeing or is experiencing or is going through the most innovative phase in human history. In human history, once we had only uh, jazz, rock, then Beatles, then Rolling Stones, then other such groups. Dear friends, if you want to have a fair understanding of youth culture, one has to peruse or see the videos of Woodstock Festival, which took place in 1969 in United States of America. Woodstock Festival, a festival where 5 lakh people gathered without any ostensible purpose but to enjoy music. And behind that gathering, deep in their hearts, there was anti-American sentiment. Why? Because against the aggression, American aggression of Vietnam. So that was the time when young people across the world demonstrated their will or demonstrated their dissent against the mightiest country, that is United States of America, for its aggression on a tiny nation called Vietnam. So if you uh, peruse the literature or all the articles or newspapers, old issues of newspapers from 1965 to 75, it will be full of news regarding the demonstration or the protest of young people against American aggression or against the American invasion of Vietnam. And it is American students who rebelled or who revolted, who expressed their dissent against American establishment. Of course, that happens only in enlightened societies. Uh, it was not called anti-national this thing, but they said, what business had you? Did you have to attack a tiny country like Vietnam and draft, forcing young people to join the army and all? So when we look back at the history of young people, I mean youth movements, youth-led movements, or young youth-driven movements, we will get uh, uh, quite precious insights into this particular subject. Like I mentioned about Sampurna Kranti in India, 1973-74. Then came emergency. Then Assam Gana Parishad. At the same time, uh, apart from nurturing subcultures, apart from promoting or creating subcultures, young people also go for promoting or nurturing, or say, we can't say promoting, following contra cultures. Contra culture is diametrically opposite to the dominant as well as subcultures. Contra culture is more into criminal activity. Contra culture means it clashes with the established legal systems. Drug addiction is an example of contra culture. Eve teasing is an example of contra culture. And taking to arms or settling scores with the establishment through violent methods is an example of contra culture. So this contra culture, unfortunately, also appears to be a very attractive proposition for young people. We know when Andhra and all, Osmania University and all, many young people, very bright young people, they joined Naxalism. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them, they dejected and, or what do you call, disappointed, disillusioned. They came back, and till now, even they are not able to lead normal lives. So this is contra culture. Promotion of contra culture means it clashes with law. It ends up in punishment, and it ends up in earning penal, inviting the wrath of the state, and it ends up in making the individual subject to penal action, punishable involvement in punishable offenses. See, contra culture was identified with contrabands, that means drugs, drug addiction. This hippie subculture also had this element of contra culture, like drugs, taking to drugs, smoking hashish, ganja, and then singing songs, living in makeshift tents, not taking bath for weeks together. But a positive feature of hippie culture is it did not clash with the authorities. It did not oppose any other religion or any other ideology or ism. It was into it. It was for itself. It was meant for searching for some kind of spiritual solace, which they were not able to define. So youth subcultures, if I request our friends who are from sociology, social sciences, to document any kind of innovative youth subculture which they see in course of their discharging their duties, or because they work in remote colleges also, colleges located in remote areas, there they may find good examples of innovative youth subculture. Now, friends, what is going to be the future of young people in this country. Yes, young people, you said young people are energetic, enterprising, passionate and all. I would like to add that present day young people are more energetic, more passionate, more dynamic, more enterprising than their predecessors. The present generation is very proactive, is pragmatic, very intelligent, somewhat selfish, yes, self-centered. Recently, I was talking to my friend's son, who is an IITian. He works from a multinational company in Bangalore with a unimaginable package, unimaginable for me, not for him. I said, why don't you become an IAS officer? You can do a great deal for the society. He said, if I want to do for the society, I will do it on my own in volition, in my own way. I don't have to become an IAS officer. Then I tried to convince him, see, you are not after money. That boy rejected offers from United States of America and New Zealand. He stayed back in the country. At least to that extent, he is more patriotic. I said, anyway, you don't care for money. You have earned enough. You can become an IAS officer and serve the society, because that is the best channel to serve the society. You will be part of governance. Of course, there are problems. You may have to face problems, but still with your intelligence and experience, with your high IQ levels, you will overcome that, I'm sure. And you can do something good to the society. He said, no, I won't. Why should I? And why should I serve the society? He said, why should I serve the society? If the society needs my services, if I am asked to do that, I will do it. And if I feel that, I will do it. But if someone says you serve the society, no, I'm not going to serve. Why should I? Why should I expend my energies? This is the curt reply which I received from that young boy who is hardly 24. So, dear friends, the young people are driven by a purpose, are very goal driven, goal directed. Their objectives are clear. Relatively compared to the preceding generations, their objectives are very clear. They are good in they are intelligent enough to chalk out their own course of action. But still, we as teachers have to be very cautious. We as teachers have to keep a watch on them, because some people may not be able to choose the right career. They may become misadventurous. Instead of being adventurous, they may embark on some kind of misadventure. See, now another example I'll give you. One young boy ruined his parents by investing money in some gold coin, something. Some another fellow, very strange games, very macabre games, video games, taking one's life and all. So these things happen because of lack of supervision, lack of monitoring, and a teacher has to be very responsible. A teacher has to be uh, 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 watchful. And now the job of a teacher has become more difficult, because you lecture here and the other fellow, the student is Googling the same subject. So the job of a teacher has become very difficult, especially in social sciences. Where once, while taking a class in Chandigarh, I mentioned about John Rawls' theory of justice in 1971. Immediately, one bright girl stood up, and she was simply prattling John Rawls, 1971, what happened, how he co-authored books with Amartya Sen and all. Why, within 1 minute, she Googled. She did not know who John Rawls was till then. She Googled. So, for social science teachers, I think mathematics, computers and all, mathematical sciences, engineering and all, I don't know. I don't know the index of difficulty which you face, but social sciences, it's very elastic. Anyone can ask anything. It is not a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. It is not like that. It's a very elastic, very elastic. You look at things from one perspective, you arrive at a conclusion. The moment your perspective or angle changes, the conclusion will be drastically different. So, my dear friends, we as teachers, our responsibilities have increased definitely manifold. Students are now exposed to information revolution. Young people are exposed to information revolution, and hence, the knowledge base is getting expanded every day. The knowledge base of all subjects, of all disciplines, is getting expanded. Crucial inputs are being added. With every passing minute, inputs are being added to the knowledge base. So we have to be alert. We have to be update with our respective subjects, especially we teachers and researchers. So now again, coming back to, let me conclude let me conclude my session on youth development. So youth development is a comprehensive process. Youth development is a comprehensive process. Youth development is an activity or a pursuit carried on by the establishments or civil society organizations to empower the youth through proper socialization, training, and educational endeavor. So without educational endeavor, without education, without proper socialization, and without training, young people, development of young people cannot be achieved. Now the government of India has introduced 4 massive skill development training programs. One is PMKVY, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. The other set of programs are Deen Dayal Gramin Vikas Yojana, then Deen Dayal Upadhyaya programs, training for skill development training, and under PMKVY till now millions of young people, more than 2 crores, that means 200 million young people have been trained, and 60% of them have got placements. 60% of the placement this thing rate is more than 60%. It is not it's not an ordinary achievement. So 2 crore people getting trained, sorry, more than 2 crore people getting trained, and 60% of them getting placements, getting placed in hotel industry, any industries. There are 360 trades in which these young people are trained, PMKVY. So the government is making all out efforts to train the young people. At the same time, we want the young people to be aware of things, to be quite proactive, to be, we want the young people to respond to the happenings around them. We want the young people, I don't say we want the young people to become rebels, but at the same time, young people should be given all opportunities to express their dissent. Because as a student during the 80s and early 90s, sorry, 80s only, 80s, I stick to that particular ideology where young people were very proactive. They were given all opportunities to express their, at least their dissent was not throttled, muzzled. So we have to see that young people are reasonably active. They are into, they are on the right path of their empowerment. They they have to they have to um, uh, take all the benefits provided by the state. None should lag behind in this particular aspect. They must make use of all the opportunities available to them. Then, you know, in the coming days, definitely the future of India is appears to be bright, unless we control our population. Simply saying that we have millions of young people, you know, 65% of our population is below 35. It could also spell disaster if these young people are not trained properly. There are studies which say that youth bulges, youth bulge means when young people, the population of young people crosses 60%, may cause armed rebellions, may cause armed insurgency. That means if the state is not able to provide them with proper infrastructural facilities, education and opportunities for education, health, access to income sources, then these young people may take to arms. But those studies are, you know, they come true in some African countries and Latin American countries. They are not applicable to countries like India or China. Of course, the question doesn't arise, or the Western industrial nations. So that may not take place. That may not happen. And also, young people have to be made aware of all sorts of discrimination. It is they who have to fight discrimination, caste inequalities, evil practices. Yes, certainly, young people have to be made aware of this through training. It happens only through training. It can happen only through sensitization exercises. Young people have to be made aware of the importance of blood donation, then charity. No doubt, young people are doing now. Young people are doing, but still, more and more young people have to be sensitized to problems like poverty, discrimination. Discrimination is still there in India. It is embedded in our very society. Caste discrimination, evil practices are still going on. So these and the movies also. Recently, there was a movie called Kantara. People are praising that movie like anything. Oh, it is innovative. What innovative? It is all about superstitions, mantra, tantra, jadoo tona and all. No, that I think, and a young man is always seen smoking beedis. That fellow doesn't have any other business but to serve the feudal lord. Finally, he rebels. Why? Because apne tak aa gaya, to he rebels. So this sort of characters, characterization, that Pushpa movie, young people, what will they learn from that movie? Because crime is so glamorized, so effectively glamorized in Pushpa. Ye jhukega nahi. What is this nonsense? I call it nonsense. So from tomorrow onwards, young people will say, I will not stand up when my superior comes. हर आदमी के पास जाके I will go to every fellow and say, मैं झुकूंगा नहीं. So this, it's a well-made movie, no doubt. Allu Arjun and all, we like he's a Telugu actor. We know, we have seen him from close quarters. He was a young boy. This is undesirable. Mass media, it is we who have to campaign against such movies. We have to campaign against, we have to bring young people, we have to try to inculcate the spirit of idealism among the young people. Not jhukega nahi, Pushpa, no, that Kantara, suddenly a god, that local god comes, dances. What is this? It is not scientific. Certainly, it is not scientific temper. So that दूर की बात है, scientific temper तो बिल्कुल नहीं है, but not to speak of scientific temper, it is not even listenable. So such glamorization of unreason, glamorization of superstitions, glamorization of crime, have to be discouraged. So, dear friends, it is 4:25. I think my allotted time is this session. I think it's coming to a close. If anyone has any question, then chat box, please type the question, then I will try to clarify your doubt. I will try. I am not a all oracle. I was only a youth development functionary. So please, any doubt? If you have any question, please, chat box is there.
Sir, one Tanusri Kundu.
Yes.
She put one question. What is the source of this 2020 population data?
2020 population is provisional data before the census. Census, officially census will have to be. It will take another couple of years. We have this provisional census. It is called provisional census. I can't. I'm not able to use that exact demographic. I mean that verbatim. It is there. 2020 data is there. Not all aspects. It is not full census. It is there. Some the population of some cities, some states, literacy rates, unemployment rates, employment rates. These are being collected. They are being collected. Information is being piled up. Of course, it is late. Census, by now we should have got 2021 decennial census. It is late. It is there, madam. Madam or sir? Sir? Madam only asked, no? Lady.
Yeah, it is a
Yes.
Tanusri Kundu. I see a madam.
Yeah, going by her name. Yes, madam. It is available. It is available. Source of data is available. Provisional data, provisional census. It is available.
So, dear participant, if you have any other one have any question, anything, you put up. Otherwise, we will bind up the session today. Bind up.
Yeah. So I think,
Yeah,
sir,
I think no
I
much.
am
Yeah, no.
last sentence is I am very new to this university. Only recently I joined. I am only 2 months old here, and the first person to meet in this university is none other than Professor Manoj Kumar Verma. Uh, then one day suddenly he called me and he forced this on me. He said, "Aapko karna hi hoga." Yes, sir, definitely. When Verma ji asks for any such, I'm always at his service, sir. So I'm very happy today. I'm delighted for having been able to interact with you, friends. I'm also afraid. I don't know how my lecture is received. So yes, here of course, very interesting and thought provoking. Thank you very much. And sure, sometime we will cross paths somewhere. Thank you very much once again, Varmaji. I am thankful to you as well as the Human Development Resource Center, Mizoram University. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Sir,
Namaste.
thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time and delivering a very nice lecture. Many participants still they are writing about your lecture and they are prizing. So one unique topic. Normally, this type of the topic, I took the charge of the HRDC. First time this type of the topic we are discussing. So many things also I learned from you. So
Oh, thank you.
by listening your lecture. So thank you so much, sir. My office will contact you for the official procedures. Meanwhile, so dear participant, in this way, today we completed our today's session. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, again, we will join, 10 o'clock and we will start. Please be on time, okay? And especially the first session, it is a very sometimes awkward position when a resource person joined 9:45, 9:50, and we have a less participant. Definitely 10, 5, 10, 10, everyone join, but be punctual. It is online. Even you are busy also, no, at least you log in. So that you see, every day we are calling many resource person from the outside of the state. So sometimes if number is less, we feel little embarrassing situation. So please, tomorrow you join. Very eminent speakers are there tomorrow. So with this, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Now we may leave everyone. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again, all of you. Thank you very much.